Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. And staying on course here in Pennsylvania, got an opportunity to sit down and talk with some new friends who have a really cool story in the shed industry. And I don't know who wants to lead here, but I'll let each of you just introduce yourself, the company, a little bit about who you are and what you do. You guys figure that out. We want to get you all on here at some point.
I'll go first because I am the brains of the operation.
There we go. I love it. Wait a minute. We need to, let's see. There we go. All right.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
The brain. I love it. The gauntlet's been thrown down already. I love it.
Well, I mean, because I do call my back office here the think tank.
Okay.
My name is Jeannie Kontis.
Okay.
And I'm Adam Kontis. Yep, Jeannie's husband.
And the brawn.
The brawn.
Of the operation.
That is correct.
They just put you out front.
They put me on front. That's
and the,
right.
and the shed sell. That's just the way it happens.
That's just how it is. That's right. But she is the brains of the operation, and thank goodness.
The brains of any operation.
Yeah, that is so true.
Will be female. It seems.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then this is your son.
Yes.
Yep. And my name is Alex Kontis. I get the best of both worlds and the brain and the brawn.
There you go.
Yes, you do.
You're like Superman. You've
Sure,
got,
yeah.
you've
He
got all,
actually is.
He really is. Yeah, he really is.
Excellent. So I'm going to be terrible with names. Alex, Adam,
and Jeannie.
Jeannie, yep.
Okay. Please forgive me. I thrive way more on what we say, and I'll remember that for years to come. Names. Oh,
We can put name tags if you like.
It's, well, you know what? What's bad is whenever you start forgetting people's names that you've known for a long time, or like you meet them in the shed industry or see them at the expo or some shed event, and I'm like, please forgive me.
Yeah.
Because I remember everything we talked about, but I can't remember your name.
Right, yeah.
There was somebody taught me an old trick many years ago. When you meet somebody for the first time, that you should say their names to yourself 3 times, and that helps you not forget their names. Like the minute you meet them and they introduce yourself, then you say that name 3 times in your head, and that helps you.
Well, even in sales, they say it's a really good thing, right? To just immediately address them by name. It feels more personal.
It is one of the most important things that we do here.
Yeah.
When we have a customer that will come in, and they would come in the first time, and then we would talk to them. When they come back the second time, when we address them by their first name, when we see them and we become humble, and it made them feel like an old friend, it's so important to the relationship. They feel like they're the most important person in the world. And as far as we're concerned, they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, I love it.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So we're at Fox Country Sheds.
Correct.
And Fox Country Sheds is located in, where are we actually?
You're in Lititz, Pennsylvania.
We're in Lititz.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. In Lancaster County.
In Lancaster County.
We are still Lancaster. And everybody tells me that because I say it from the South, I say Lancaster.
Yes, you say it wrong.
That's what I've been told. They say it's much faster.
It's
cadence.
Lancaster.
It's Lancaster.
Yes.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. Yep.
And you guys have been here long enough to know that, so
That is correct.
you can hear my long vowels as I speak.
That's okay.
Yeah, I sound hillbilly, right? It's okay. You can say it. It's fine. It's all right.
It's okay.
He's got the twang.
Just a twang.
It's the twang.
You know what?
It's because you're close to Nashville.
It is. I tell you what it is you almost don't belong anywhere when you're where I'm from, because when you go north, they say you're from the South.
Yeah.
And when you go south, they call you a Yankee. So I'm like, I don't understand. I don't belong anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you're stuck in the middle.
No man's land.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So tell me a little bit about Fox Country. First of all, let me add a few things even before you share. Beautiful facility. It looks awesome. I love the display when we first come in. It's really awesome to see some names that are familiar faces. You know, with I saw Tim Hoffs hang this up.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, and then I saw Dave Miller with Smart Pay and the papers and things like that. So good friends, good people.
Yep.
So it's really nice to have the mutual acquaintances.
Yep.
And then just the display of your lot in general looks really, really nice.
Oh, thank you very much. We work very hard at it to make sure that it's presented very well. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Fox Country. sales, manufacturing. Tell me your story. How did you get here?
Sure.
Did you guys just grow up in the shed industry? Or?
No,
did not.
No,
Far
we
from
did
it.
not. Far from it. How we got into the shed industry, we were in another business for a very long time, and that got to be very hard to maintain. So we sold out, and it took me 5 years to recover. So I retired when I was 40 years old, and it took me 5 years to get over the toughness of my previous business. And I remember specifically, it was my wife was doing real estate at the time. My kids were late teenagers, so they didn't want to bother with mom and dad. They had their own little thing going between, their friends and all that. So my wife, Jeannie, decided that she wanted to do real estate. So she was doing real estate at the time. And I remember, we had one kid going to college, another one heading that way. And we're like, well, I'm still too young to officially retire. So I remember her sitting in our kitchen. I don't remember if it was the table or the little area there. And she turned around and said to me, what do you know about the shed industry? And
it just said like wood products manufacturing. We didn't even really know it was sheds at first.
Right. And I turned around, I was sitting on the couch watching TV, probably in Spaceland or whatever I was thinking. And I said, it doesn't matter what the business is, as long as it's a business, I could do it.
Awesome.
And that was a Thursday. And that coming Saturday, so we got a hold of the real estate agent. It intrigued us. And I think
because I was looking at commercial listings, at the time to see
what's out there.
I was like, I gotta, we have to do something. We're gonna have college bills coming, and I loved selling real estate. I mean, I was killing it. It was a good time.
Nice.
So that was on a Thursday afternoon, evening, and we called the real estate agent that was, listed there.
He's a business broker.
A business broker, and he says to us, well, we already have a bunch of offers coming in for this company. And he's like, I don't really want to bother. And then my wife said to him, well, you have a duty to your client to represent.
I said, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller.
Right. And then we explained to him.
To us.
Right. And then we explained to him that it's not for one of her clients. It's actually personal for us. So reluctantly, he agreed. So we came to look at it on that Saturday, which was a day later. And he said, all offers have to be in by Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
And then by Tuesday afternoon, we owned Fox Country Shed.
And
that's how quick it happened. We didn't know anything about shed industry or anything like that, but a business is a business. And if you know how to run a business, doesn't matter what it is, you'll learn. And I think I had enough confidence in myself and my wife that I knew we could make it happen. And that's what it was. And then a month or so, 2 months later, whatever it was, we were here. And
so how long ago was this?
This was June of 2008.
June of 2008.
Yeah.
So this was, the previous owners were...
it was the Fox family.
Okay.
Yeah, father and son worked it. Great people. The son stayed and worked with us for over a year. The dad...
I think even longer.
Oh, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
And the dad stayed for a couple of months to get us going and all that. And then there was another son that worked in the shop, and he stayed with us for 4 or 5 years, if I remember.
Yeah.
So we always had a good
we
relationship.
had a good relationship.
We had a
with
good
them.
relationship with them.
The father wanted to retire.
Okay.
Yep.
And the son who owned the business with him wanted to be free to
You want to do
leave
mission
and
work.
go and do mission work.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and that happens a lot.
It
I
does.
think,
It does.
you
It
know,
does.
while we talk about second and third and now maybe even fourth generation shed builders, a lot of guys just, they don't necessarily want to follow. Some can't wait to. They want to, follow in the footsteps and own the shed business, but some want to kind of be free to explore.
Of course.
Well, somebody's, that business is there. It's valuable.
Yeah.
They've built up a brand, a reputation.
And they did. They had a wonderful reputation because, we did a little bit of research even in that short period of time.
Yeah.
They did have a really good reputation, a very good quality of their products. And so we fell in love with it. And I remember the first distributor that came in, this guy named Rodney Lauer. He worked for a company called Wolf, and at that time we were buying siding from them. I remember him walking in the door, never met him or anything like that. And the first thing he said out of his mouth to me was, "It's a bad time to get in the shed industry."
The recession started.
The recession started. And I looked at him and I shrugged my shoulders. And we still talk about it to this day. I shrugged myself, well, if I can make it now, I'll make it through the good years too.
Yeah.
And that was it, and we put our heads down and we worked, and we had very cheap lunches to get us going, and we did all that stuff that any new business owner does.
Well, somebody told me, like in Lancaster County, that even during the recession, it didn't seem to hit as bad because there's a bit of a resilience in this part of the country, particularly in like the plain communities, because not everything is reliant. It's more personal, which someone else told me with a lot about Amish culture, and trust me, I've learned a lot, but I have way more to go with Black Plain community culture. Today we have something truly groundbreaking to discuss: the Zula from Mobino Solar Solutions. This incredible shed ventilation system is set to redefine how we approach air circulation and energy efficiency. A shed ventilation marvel. With 3 robust fans generating 630 CFM, 2 fans usher in a breath of fresh air, while 1 strategically expels stillness. What's groundbreaking? It's solar powered. Harnessing the sun's energy, the Zula is a sustainable dream eliminating electricity cost. Sleek, powerful, and eco-friendly, this system is a game changer for those seeking efficient air circulation without compromising on green values. Visit Mobino's site for more of this innovative solar shed ventilation solution and use the ShedGeek10 for an extra 10% discount. Just visit www.mobinosolar.com. They told me, they said Amish is about building community.
Correct.
That's one of the biggest things. And I was like, wow, what I love about that is that's a passion for me. It's the reason why we network and have these conversations with our competition and with our collaborators.
Absolutely.
Because good information, good content breeds more knowledge breeds better decisions. Even competition is a good thing. It makes us better. Even with it being 2008 and scary in that situation, it seemed like the economy here just kind of kept going.
It was good and steady. I was never concerned from day one that we made a mistake.
Nice.
Not even if we weren't making the money we thought we were making. I never was concerned about that because I had enough confidence in my wife and myself. And Alex at the time wasn't here; he was still in high school.
He was still in high school, So he worked for us in the summers,
right? And he worked over the summer, but I was never concerned. I knew eventually. With our hard work that it would pay off. And, we would work here till 5, 6 o'clock, go home and work till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Working on photographs and doing this and designs and you name it. Like we were workaholics the first, 5, 6 years. It was nonstop.
Your photographs stand out immediately.
Oh, thank
you.
The
canvas pictures.
Yeah, thank you.
That show, as soon as you come into the office, it's apparent that you take a lot of pride in displaying the product.
Absolutely.
In a way the customer can understand. Yeah. We'll get into that, but I'm curious, from 2008, then, what surprised you? You got into the shed industry, and you were newbies, right?
Yep.
You were like, hey, we didn't come into this.
Oh, yeah. I would say, Adam had like construction know-how, and, we had renovated, some properties and all, so he knew construction as far as like carpentry. And I feel like I felt comfortable with it because I did real estate, and so I knew.
Maybe the sales process.
Not even like the sales, but more, construction. I knew what 2x4s were and stuff.
Basic
and
construction stuff that you see with real estate.
Very important.
Walking through new homes and seeing homes being built from the ground up, and I'm looking at a shed, for the first time in my life, besides the shed that we had on our property then, that little,
which we ended up getting back.
Yeah, funny story, that one. But, in our first house, like we had a little mini barn. And so I never looked at a shed construction before we walked through the business then. And I thought, I know what all these components are. I know what all this stuff is. So it was that easy transition because we knew what.
Could you imagine a person coming into the shed industry without that knowledge? That's a lot to learn.
Well, Alex can speak on that behalf because obviously he didn't know when he got here.
So you get out of high school, you jump into the family business. What did that feel like?
So that wasn't right out of high school.
Okay.
So like that first summer, I had just graduated from high school.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was still college bound. So I went to school out in Colorado, and like I wanted to kind of get away for a little bit and find myself. And as the years kind of went on, and I would still then come, back in the summer then and work here, I started very slowly, seeing all that. So yeah, it was a little like scary at first because I came in without really anything other than knowing what a 2x4
Right.
might be, not knowing all the lengths that it could come in, like, not knowing that you could get them like cut down to a certain length from a mill and then buy units like that. But in the same aspect, kind of what Jeannie had said, like what my mom had said, is once you open that door up and you see kind of like the inner workings of how things are made, a lot of things can get filled in, and you can learn a lot that way and grow that way.
And you figure it out.
And he was studying entrepreneurship when he was at school.
Really? That's awesome.
And our thinking at the time was, we're going to grow the business and then like sell it and retire. And then he would come and work for us in the summers. And then he came to us and said, I kind of want to learn from you. I can't learn how to be an entrepreneur out of a book like at college. I just have to do it.
How true is that?
Yeah.
What a powerful statement.
We got him a desk in the corner.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, here you are, just learn it. And he's been here every day since, every weekend. And
Yep.
he's
Except my wedding day.
Yeah.
except his wedding day.
We couldn't do it anymore without him.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
such
when
an
he came
important part
in,
of the business.
Yeah,
Besides being important in our lives because
Right.
he's our son. But
we just got
We
busier
value
through the
him.
He's like, I'm 2 for 2.
yes.
Well, we got busier through the years, and we just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, he came in and took some of that off of us, because otherwise we'd be working 12 hours a day.
Someone who wanted to move in the right direction and cared enough to make calculated decisions for the best interest of everybody, whether
Right.
that was the customer, the dealer,
Yeah.
ourselves, the employees. I wasn't just like, well, this is what I think, so this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
You were studying entrepreneurship, and I love the comment. You can't learn that from a book, because obviously education's invaluable. I love to read, I love to listen, but there's some things that just have to be experienced. What do you feel like was maybe the most surprising thing that you learned as you jumped into real life entrepreneurship?
Hi, I'm Dylan from the Shed Geek marketing team, and I want to address a common misconception about marketing. Often people approach us for just one service, like social media management, where we plan and schedule your monthly posts. While this is a valuable time saver, it's just one piece of your complete marketing strategy, much like a shed with its various components. Let's simplify it. Think of your social media channels and Google My Business as the foundation, similar to the runners of a shed. They support your digital storefront, your website, which is like the floor joists and band boards. To enhance your marketing, you'll need tools like Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, and Google Tags, which are like the walls. These tools help track the success of your campaigns, measuring form submissions, 3D shed creations, and phone calls generated by our ads. Now, let's talk about the roof. Meta and Google ad campaigns. These are the top layers that complete your marketing shed. While you may inquire about one specific service, remember, they all contribute to the overall structure of your marketing strategy. At Shed Geek Marketing, we're happy to work on one individual aspect, but our goal is to build a comprehensive marketing shed that will truly stand out in the digital landscape. If you're ready to talk about your marketing strategy that will take your shed business to the next level, just go to shedgeek.com and fill out a submission form or contact the Shed Geek for more information.
Yeah, that can be a very long-winded answer there.
Yeah, well, I mean, go for it. Any takeaways that just kind of surprised you?
You know, I feel like at first glance from the outside, you look in as, you know, like an entrepreneur or business owner and think it's all, you know, glitz and glam. And that it's all just, you know, money to be made, and you don't see all the hard work that goes into that. And, you know, whether that is, you know, the people that you need to put together to work, you know, efficiently and work as a family and as a unit, as one unit together going towards a common goal. I think that to me is, I don't know, the more surprising, that's the most rewarding part of it, is when you see and you kind of the team building of that and how that, you know, helps all families and, you know, striving for a together goal. That's important to me.
You know, you're talking small business, and it just dawned upon me, like mom and dad and son operating in a family environment, atmosphere, and opposite that, I have my family with me. I have my wife and I have my son with me, who's also helping out in the family business. And just it just dawned upon me the dynamic of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like when you talk about family business and entrepreneurship.
We have another employee that works with us here in the office who's not here today, who's actually a very old friend of ours.
Very old friend.
His name is Sean, and when we needed extra help in the office, we knew, you know, we could trust him to work here with us and he would care. And he travels an hour every day to get to work. And he's worked with us here for 14 years, I think. 14 years.
Yeah.
And so he always, you know, he walks in and he's like, you know, hi, Dad. He tells him, and he's always like, I'm not your dad.
Well, I say that because I don't want his dad to really hear him one day get mad with me. You know, his dad, you know, is a retired sheriff. I don't want to be. I don't want to get mad at me. But yeah, Sean is another. All our employees are valuable to us, but Sean is really something very, very special. Not only is he a very close friend, but we all have the same mindset. We always trying to do better, not only for our family, but for the employees. The employees are the most important part of running our manufacturing department. Without them, there is none.
So move fast forward 2008 to today.
Yep.
What have you taken away from all this?
Oh, I love this job.
Yeah.
I love being here. I love everything about it. Some things can be challenging, but every business has that. So it's never all gravy. But 99% of the time, boy, I love coming in. And, you know, I love dealing with the people. I love the sales aspect of it. I love solving problems. And I love the fact that my son takes a lot of that responsibility off my plate now.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal. Just amazing. And when I leave, and sometimes I do leave early, I've earned the right. I am not concerned that things won't get done the way that I always wanted them to get done, because he learned from us.
Yeah.
And he takes care of it just like I was doing it.
Yeah.
And for us, the most important part of everything is our customer, regardless if it's a retail customer or a wholesale customer or our dealer. That's the most important. It's not about the money. It's not about the profits. It really isn't. They're the most important because they will be back and they will recommend us. Word of mouth for us is immensely successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, immensely.
What has changed the most for you in these 15, 16 years?
Gosh. I think technology.
Yeah.
You know, I think technology, you know, when we bought this business, we had a website. The previous owner, the son, was very forward-thinking and hired a company to create a website. And that website, they paid a lot of money to include a shopping cart. And it was all customizable. So the customers could, you know, at that time, 2008, when we took over, it was already up and running for a couple of years, I think. Mm-hmm. They customer can select their shed, select their size, select their colors, select their door and window placement, and place
Get a
their
price.
order.
Options.
Yeah, all kinds of different options. Add a ramp, add a weather vane, and buy it online.
Wow.
And through the years, our web developer would always tell us that software is getting really old. Your website's very old. All of our competitors had these big fancy websites, but they didn't have what we had, that shopping cart. And we would tweak it through the years, but the ability now, this is our first year now with our new website. It just literally got launched like January 3rd or something, I think. So that's still a learning curve because we loved our old website.
It's not only us, our customers loved
customers.
it. We would get so many compliments because the customer, even if they just want to know what a price was, they were just curious. They had no idea what a shed cost. They would just go on the website and like, oh, this particular shed that looks something like this is going to cost me delivered X amount of dollars. It's not within my budget this year, but I'll wait till next year. But it was there. They didn't have to call somebody. They didn't have to get a quote. They didn't have to wait 3-4 days. It was instant gratification to them that they knew what the price of that shed was, regardless if it was in their budget or not, or if they were ready to buy it or not. No reflection on that. But we've had plenty of people come a year later and say, oh, I printed this off your website. I want to buy this.
Yeah, like a year later.
A year later.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And now to have that 3D customizer, which... we use a particular company. I don't know if you want us to say who.
Oh, you're welcome to. We don't
because I know there are a few other ones. We
there
use
are.
Idea Room.
Yeah. So the approach I take on that is like you're welcome to share.
Right.
And the only thing I ask people on the podcast is maybe not to, if it's a negative experience, we kind of shy away from it because I feel like those people have the right to know and not find out through the podcast, right? They need to know through a real conversation with their client. You said you do use Idea Room?
We use Idea Room.
We
and
had the pleasure of interviewing those before. Great guys.
Yep. We've had a good experience.
That was the one thing that our customers would walk in and say, I want this shed and this color. And then they would say, do you have any way for me to see what it looks like?
Yep.
And it was like, no. And
it's
then
so
suddenly
important.
we do.
It's so important a lot of times in the sales process to get like, you know how it goes whenever you're explaining something to somebody and you have to compare it to like something on the lot. I remember having to do this because I was selling and a lot of these tools weren't available that are now. And it's awesome that they are. But I remember like, well, it's going to look like this one out here. And then you got to take them outside and you got to say, well, technically yours is a 10 by 20 and this one's a 10 by 16. So imagine it 4 foot longer.
And then, your door's going to be over here, not over there.
Yeah, you got to do all that.
Yeah.
You're like,
So
but we're going to
hard for
put your
them.
door on the other side. And then you said you wanted a window here. And I know this one's pink, but you want a purple one.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how many pink and purple sheds are
did
being
one.
sold. But
We sold one shed that they painted purple for, there was one.
I'm
We
curious.
didn't paint it purple.
I'm
but this
curious of some of your most interesting customers and stories.
We
and
did
things.
Christmas
Village.
shed,
Yeah.
for some charity or something that was all red with Santa Claus being in it. We shipped 3 massive sheds to California, and that was an experience in itself, just for the transport aspect of it, how difficult it was because California has so many regulations. Not any single semi-truck could show up to California, expect to drive the streets. It has to be, the emissions have to be correct. So we had to get a local company that has delivered there before. And it's a long trip. Lancaster, Pennsylvania to Los Angeles, California is a long trip. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes, very, very long trip. So
But you guys have sold, you were telling me you sold all over.
all over.
You sold in all these years quite a few places.
South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. I mean, up and down the East Coast. Yeah, we did
Up
a
to
lot
Canada, I think, too. Did we go up to Canada?
No. Oh, maybe we did. I think we did.
Yeah,
I think we did.
We might
yeah.
have.
But yeah, we did a lot, like some military bases down in the Carolinas, which is an experience in itself.
Oh, I imagine.
The rules and regulations,
Yeah.
they have to vet everybody. They had to know who the driver was. They had to screen him before he would come in, and you couldn't substitute a driver at the last minute because the other driver got sick. They won't allow that. So if you tell them it's going to be, John Smith better show up, otherwise they weren't letting him in.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we've learned a lot, but yeah, we shipped all over the place. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys had some really good success. So technology, I mean, obviously it seems to be ever changing, right?
Sure,
It
yeah.
seems like even today, and where that fits, it's so funny because do we call the website technology, how everything came out of the .com boom, and then we work in a marketing aspect. So like we kind of plug that into that. The next thing you know, you start having to learn about one thing to the next, right? If you got a website, now you're talking about SEO and ads.
Yeah, one thing leads into the other.
Configurators and buttons on there so
Right.
that people can do that. And then next thing you know, you guys obviously understand the power of visibility and optics in sheds because you have photographs everywhere. But I mean, putting out videos, putting out all those things can be important. It doesn't mean that it's the only recipe for a successful shed lot or shed manufacturer. Right. But I would say you and many others have experienced the positive side.
Yeah, I think the relationship side. You can have all the social media and fancy ads that you want, but if you don't make the personal connection with the customer,
So important.
they'll go elsewhere. Yeah.
Speaking about, we had a customer a couple of months ago. He had sent us a response because we send out letters to see how the service was and all that. And he was actually the most sweetest man.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you ever could possibly. And he spent quite a few money with us, but he was such a gentleman. He says, I walked into Fox's and walked out being family.
Oh, that's great.
That's exactly. And I mean,
That's the review you want,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
yeah. And honestly, I feel the same way about him.
Yeah.
Like he was such a nice man. We sat down, we had a conversation, he had a cup of coffee. It was just so wonderful,
What's your guys' thoughts on like customer acquisition time? Have you ever had a customer ask you about how to supply power to their shed? Do you sell electrical kits as an upsell for your sheds currently? Do you want an easy, no-hassle option to offer for your customers when they want to add electric to their sheds? Check out EcoEthics Solar. EcoEthics Solar is looking for shed manufacturers and shed dealers who want to be able to provide a solar electric option to their line of sheds. With EcoEthics Solar, you can purchase the SunSaver, a solar product specifically designed with the shed owner in mind. Want to offer a larger product that can operate a full tiny home? At EcoEthics Solar, they have the necessary product, training, and capacity to meet your customers' needs. Installation for the SunSaver is simple and takes just 45 minutes. You can even install it right there on your sales lot or at the manufacturing facility. EcoEthics Solar even provides hands-on in-person training if necessary. Plus, they will provide you with video tutorials and handouts with specific installation instructions that keeps adding a solar-powered electrical system to your shed fast and simple. In many cases, the end user can even perform the installation once the shed is delivered to their home. If you are interested in purchasing a unit for display and then drop shipping your orders or even ordering multiple units to have available as you build, contact my friends at EcoEthics Solar at 336-250-1284 or email sales@ecoethicsolar.com. So like, Jeannie, you go back to like when you were working in real estate.
Right.
Like you've really got to spend some time with the customer. The house buying process is just a little bit more invasive.
Yeah, and it could be anywhere from, a month if somebody knows what they want and they find it right away to 6 months and more, depending on the market, of course.
How's sheds compared to, say, your experience in that area? Because real estate folks are really on top of it. There's a lot of good marketing that I've noticed in real estate, and I'm just picking on marketing, but there's a lot of good things that they do in terms of leading the way in sales development and stuff.
Right.
Well, what's sort of your experience in this industry in comparison?
I feel like some things that I learned in my real estate business was really getting in front of the consumer. So when they do a Google search for a house or a particular house that they want, that my name will pop up in front of them. So I learned I actually worked with somebody on his team who knew HTML and taught me some things. And so I'd be able to like add things in my email signature, with a link then. Things I didn't know really what they were, but I knew how to add a link or, make a signature that was like responsive. And I made a blog. So this was back in the early 2000s. I would blog about my real estate experiences regularly. So if I drove into southern Lancaster County to show an old farmhouse, I had great content for it. And all my tag words, historic homes in Lancaster, and just things that would pop up. And so when someone did a search, I had customers, then potential customers that would call me up and say, I'm interested in a historic home, an 1800s home in Lancaster City, and you're the historic homes specialist.
Yeah, Google began to recognize you through those keyword searches, right, as sort of a professional, so they're going to recommend you, which a lot of people talk about Google. But, I mean, there was a lot of others out there, right? If you remember back in the day, Ask Jeeves and Bing is still around. DuckDuckGo is becoming popular as a search engine. But the idea behind it is that Google's trying to give the most. So people talk about ranking or indexing on Google, and it's like we want to be number one, and it's like, don't we all? Right? Don't we all? We all want to show up first. And what Google's doing is they're taking where you see search results, and it says we found 500,000 recommendations in 33.33 seconds, and these are arguably the leaders in that. What they're suggesting is all of our research tells us this is the most reputable resource for the question you're asking.
Right.
Restaurants near me. Well, guess what? Guess who's going to show up? You're going to begin to see all of those that put into
and I think
organic
AI is
SEO
going
and
to
things.
change.
Oh, it's going to be so different. Isn't it?
AI is going to be revolutionary to the way that we think, we move, we get information.
Absolutely.
And I'm not quite sure how yet, honestly, like how it would affect us with shed sales. I've been trying to figure that out, other than using like Chat GPT to create like a shed description.
It's like trying to understand almost the .com boom.
Yeah, right.
And we're on the other side of it now to be able to, your Monday morning quarterback. You can, hindsight's 2020 to look back and go, man, I should have invested in Amazon.
Yeah, right.
But at the time, it's like some company selling books online. Who cares?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Go to the store and get that.
That's never going to make it.
Yeah, right? You need to hold the book.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, and I don't have the answer. And I'm weary of those who do also. But I'll give you an example of like AI.
Sure.
In my own experience,
Yeah.
we use AI for some of our social media posts. Sure. When we put a description out of this episode, AI will listen to this entire episode, and then it will write a bio for us that is a really nice, like intuitive bio, to the point where I've actually gotten comments from people who said, man, you're writing some excellent bios. You make me want to read it more.
Right.
And I'm like, well, in full disclosure,
It's not me.
it's not me. As wise as I like to think I am.
It's some very smart little person inside the computer.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and even show titles or different things.
Yeah,
So there's
right.
different areas where we are learning to explore it so that it makes our life easier.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would suspect it's going to come into shed sales at some point. We obviously use it in our marketing for
It's
like
going to
pictures.
come into the market aspect.
I'm
of it.
wondering how it can come into like the manufacturing, because, how can we become more efficient with using like AI?
AI is even writing code for like, those who are building websites now. So like, you're just going to be able to do a lot more stuff that you don't have to seek a professional out to do.
Right.
Because one of my favorite things somebody told me about Chat GPT is they said, we're using it all wrong. And I said, what do you mean? They said, here's a hack. I think you might've said it on the podcast even. He said, here's a hack for you. He said, you know how you go to GPT and you prompt it and you say, hey, write me a social media post about visiting Lancaster County and how much fun we had and we really enjoyed it. And it kicks all this stuff out or whatever. He said, you're prompting it wrong. And I said, how so? He said, from now on, you need to start asking ChatGPT, what are the best questions I can ask you in this situation? And then ask those questions to it.
Right.
And you'd be surprised because you're coming in prompting it with just your knowledge. You're not asking it for knowledge that is out there that is free for you to take, that you don't exist.
Right.
And I know people are like, what are you talking about? This sounds terrible. They're like, this is...
I get it.
Some guys just want to build sheds, right?
Yeah.
They're like, what on earth are you talking about? AI what?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. What do you mean? And that's an example of like your
alien intelligence.
Yeah.
I love it, alien. Well, you just saw what happened down in Miami, right? They're talking about the alien walking through Miami.
I saw that.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
World's crazy.
That was a lot of police presence for what they said it was.
The world's crazy.
I actually just used AI on Instagram to place one of our sheds like up in space on the moon. I saved it. I didn't post it yet, but I was going to say like our sheds are out of this world, but you don't know.
I love it. Yeah, our sheds are out of this world. I love it. We use it for we didn't have a professional headshot. We take a picture and had AI create our professional headshot. So like all of our email signatures are, it's
brilliant.
It's just making things easier. I know a lot of people are like, oh gosh, I don't know this, but in one word you answered, I said, what was the biggest change since 2008 to now? You said technology. Yeah. And I think it's going to continue to change.
It will.
And with that being said, there's a lot of value to having a brick and mortar location that has coffee when you come in, that has conversation. Those things are not obsolete.
Right. Yeah.
They paved the way for us to get here and they still work.
And the way you build a shed is the same. You know what I mean? Like shed building hasn't changed other than maybe some larger operations that have like a conveyor belt system or something.
You still need a hammer. You still need nails.
Right, the fasteners. You still need the lumber. It's all done the same way.
And you guys know that because you manufacture here.
Right.
We do.
So what's sort of the makeup of Fox Country Sheds? You guys are in Lancaster. You sell to other retailers?
Yep. We have dealers up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
We're very, very selective with our dealers because we want to make sure that our product is represented correctly because we take a lot of pride in it. And we build long relationship with our dealers. Honestly, it's like family, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Like we exchange Christmas gifts. We know about each other's families. We know everybody's name, the kids, the grandkids, you name it. And that's how we operate. Because I always thought that was like the most important. And we build a little bit of a higher end shed. We're not the manufacturer that prides himself on getting X amount of sheds day in and day out, regardless of the quality. It's all about production runs. We're not that company. We build a more high end product at a reasonable price, and we take a lot of pride in that. And we inspect things 3 times before they even leave the shop. And even when they're outside, we go back and re-inspect them before they get loaded on a truck to leave. So, all that takes, time and energy and employees to do. And somebody has to pay for that.
That's right.
So you can't do those kind of production runs, without having that value there.
Yeah, the value proposition of an increased shed, the quality of the shed equals out.
Absolutely.
Typically speaking, nobody comes in and says, give me less value. Have you ever noticed that?
Not a single person.
No.
Nope.
No one says, no one ever says, I noticed you put a lot of 2x4s in this shed. Would you charge me the same price, but take some of this out?
Nope, not a single person.
Because people value quality.
They do.
Right.
And even the novice, and we've seen this through all the years we've been here, they could, even the novice person can walk inside and say and go, wow, this is built better than I was at this other place. And you're X amount of dollars more, but wow,
More value.
More value. They see it. It's almost, even if they have no idea what a 2x4 is, they could actually see it. And I think the majority of the people will pay not a lot more, but a little bit more to get that quality. And also, I think that when they leave here, they have the sense of, Alex, Jeannie, and Adam, they're going to take care of me. I'm important to them. If I have a problem, I'm going to call them, and they're going to take care of it.
Service after the sale.
Yeah, it's not a perfect world, and there's always going to be a mistake. There's always going to be. I mean, our driver could be going down the road and hit a stop sign.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah,
it's not like you're delivering with UPS.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing, But we take care of stuff like that immediately. We don't push it off. It's more important to us than the production of that day.
Yeah,
to take care of that customer.
Yeah, I feel like I've never heard someone come in and say, I want less for more.
Right.
Yeah. And when they do come in, they're here because they have a problem.
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility to help them solve that problem.
We are your storage solution.
Yeah, whether we can solve it with one of our products, or if what they want is not, our cup of tea, that we can't do that, we would try to help them find another company that may be able to, accomplish that for them.
Yeah, it's about being a helper. It's about serving the customer.
Absolutely.
And a couple of things you ever notice ring true. I noticed whether I'm in Florida or Texas or Colorado or Pennsylvania, there's always a couple of things that remain true. One is no customer ever comes in and says, I want less for more. They always say, I want more for less.
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
And no customer ever says, I bought too big of a shed.
Yeah, that's
It's always, I should have went bigger with this shed.
And as a salesperson, that can get tricky because, you obviously the bigger the shed, the more cost that is. And as a salesperson, you don't want to sound like you're pushing someone into getting the biggest
But you just
thing.
know. Oh, you just know because you just had 10 people say, I wish you'd have just sold me something bigger.
And we tell people that, right? We tell people that flat out, too.
Yeah. We get a lot of people that come in a year later for a cup of coffee, and they're like, you were right. I should have listened to you.
You know what somebody should do?
Shed.
Somebody should start getting a video testimonial when those customers come in and say, hey, I ordered a shed a year ago. I need to get another one because... can you come back here and let me just get that on camera?
Let me just get that
because
on
I'm going to put that on a loop with you and the other 15 other people this month.
We should take the video of them when they first buy the shed, and then when they come back
a year later. Yeah. But we do tell them. We do tell them this is what size are you looking for. You want to maybe consider the next size up because you will never regret it. If it fits your yard and fits your budget, and that's the exact words that we use.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an 8x12, an 8x14 is not that much money more, and you will probably thank us in the long run.
That's right.
And then that's the end. We don't push them. We don't tell them anything else beyond that.
Yeah, you
let
guys
them
are
know
great.
that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times people will place an order for an 8x12. They will go home. The husband will talk to the wife. The husband will come back. He'll change all the colors because the wife made them the next day, and then get the next bigger size the next day.
That's right.
You know? And that's okay.
Well, the brains behind the operation.
That's right.
That's
like
usually the way it
Jeannie.
works.
Yeah.
Yep.
They say everything that you give to a woman, she improves it.
That's exactly right, including us.
Yeah, that's right. So I love it. I think it's great. Introducing the Real Steel Portable Barn Door Press. You can use it to assemble your doors using truss connector plates to create strong, straight doors. The truss plates are kept in place by using our precision spring plate system, the same system as used on our truss press. Standard size truss plates are 2x4. Other options are available. Air cylinders are used to push the door together before the hydraulic cylinders push the plates into the door. This makes it easy to place your pieces of wood into the machine and assure a nice square door. 2 pins on either side of each of the vertical braces allow an easy and precise fit every time. There are 2 sets of 3 press stations on one rail. This allows for 3 stations to move in and out. while remaining perfectly in line with each other. The stations also slide back and forth on each rail for different lengths of doors. You can make door widths ranging in size from 33 inches to 48 inches with a maximum length door of 76 inches. We can accommodate nearly all of your needs when it comes to different sizes. The hydraulic power unit has a 10-gallon steel hydraulic fluid tank with a 3,000 PSI two-stage pump. The two-stage hydraulic pump makes for a 4 to 5 second cycle time. An in-tank filter and a return line filter helps keep your hydraulic fluid clean and long-lasting. The electronic control panel allows you to operate all the air and hydraulic controls from a safe distance. A two-handed safety system is used to provide a safe, efficient operating method. The unit is powered by a 3-phase 7.5 horsepower motor, complete with controls. A single-phase motor is optional as well. Contact us at realsteel.com or call Darren at 570-713-0665. Real Steel, production machines for the wood industries. Customer philosophy. We'll do that, and then we'll start to wrap up. If someone come in to buy a shed from Fox Country Sheds, what would your message be to that potential customer before they even arrived at your location? What would you want them to know whenever they show up?
I think we kind of touched on it a little bit ago that really we're here to solve their storage solution, whatever it is. And I want them, when they walk in, like the first thing that I say, and I think most of us do, is, how can I help you? And then they'll tell us exactly.
It's about exploring the needs. We sell a storage solution. I think I heard you say that earlier. We sell a storage solution.
Mm-hmm. And it might be for their car. It might be because they're
Christmas
looking for
boxes.
a home office.
Yeah, it all changes.
Might be just to, get stuff out of their garage so that they can park their car in their garage. Everybody really has different needs. It could be a home gym. They want to finish it into a home gym. So it's not
Seeing
just
everything
a shed.
now.
Family members needing to move in for whatever reason. Those are like sometimes the
And not moving into the shed.
Right to the home. Sometimes that is an unfortunate circumstance for those people. But again, we really enjoy being able to then help them with their problem and be that solution for them.
And guide them through even, the site prep. They don't know.
Very true.
They say, what do I put it on? We say, well, we have a local excavator we work with. You don't have to go looking for someone. Yeah. We can, have him do that for you as well.
Yeah, we could take everything from here. Don't worry.
We tell people that all they have to really worry about is answer the phone when the people call them to schedule things.
Yeah.
That once they've, placed the order, that is the responsibility that they need to be aware of.
Yeah,
just get ready to
take care
answer
of everything else. That's right.
And so many people don't answer their phones.
We will take care of everything else,
People are like water. They take the path of least resistance. Yeah. So if you can make it easy for them, that's what they're looking for a lot of times.
I think one of my biggest joys here is really helping. We have a lot of elderly couples that really don't know. And one of my biggest joys is really helping them. And when they turn around and they look at you in the face and they have a smile and they thank you for helping them.
Yeah.
To taking the time.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for, that's another one we hear a lot, especially from our elderly. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming out to the house. I didn't know what I was doing, especially, if it's a woman that her husband passed away, just that little extra that we do does make, and let me tell you, that one sale will equal 5 sales to us because she's the neighborhood lady.
She's your best salesperson.
Right.
She had a good experience, and she's going to go.
Neighborhood grandmother.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we are selling 5 sheds on our street.
Yeah.
Why? Because I took the time and I explained to her and I helped her, and I always tell the customers, we're here to help you. You pick up that phone, you shoot us an email, we will help you. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody that will help you.
You can never go wrong with expanding your customer service and more focus on it.
Yeah.
They become your best salespeople that are unpaid.
Unpaid. That's right.
You know, they're unpaid.
Yeah.
They just had a good experience and they really want to tell someone about it.
Absolutely.
And they're really going to, you know, whether leave you reviews or not, everyone's going to leave reviews to their friends when they have a bad experience, right?
Of course.
Have you ever went and had a bad experience at a meal? You're going to be like, man, that place has really fell off.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like they notice. They're going to say it, but they're not going to say it so publicly. So a lot of times that you know it. But I'm listening to what you're saying. And I'm not just, I want you to know I'm listening because I'm thinking of my own adventures.
Sure.
And shameless plug here for what we do in marketing. And I told Dylan, I said, that's what's going to be so different for us as we approach customers. Some guys do just want to build sheds. So they don't want to know about CRMs and SEO and all that stuff. So like the goal is not to make them feel inferior or because they don't understand it, that they're just not on the level, right?
Right.
You got to take the time to educate them. You have an elderly person come in and they're just not sure.
Right.
So you be patient and then you sit and go through the details with them. And they're like, you know, we really appreciate you didn't make us feel dumb. You didn't make us feel like we didn't know. You explained it to us. You talked us through it.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, that's what customer service is all about. Our friend Leon Martin was on the show and he said, everything you do after the sale is customer service.
Absolutely.
You have already obtained the sale.
Yep.
They closed. It's
Right.
done. You could send them on, build it, schedule it, move on. But everything you do after that shows the customer, I'm not just about the money.
Yeah.
I'm not just here to get your sale. Once I got it, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to service you through this because this is a whole relationship. And if I do well, you'll tell others or you'll come back.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
I love it, guys.
Absolutely.
You guys are an extension of what we do. You're a
Thank you.
family-owned business.
Yeah.
Focus on your customers. I love it. The dynamic here, Lancaster.
Shannon.
It's always so nice to be up here.
Thank
You
you.
guys are always your sheds up here are some of the best in the country, and I've
Yeah.
been everywhere.
I'm sure you have.
You guys do it. You do it great.
Thank you.
You do a good job.
We appreciate that.
I always give everybody the opportunity to turn the mic around for just a question or two or three, whatever comes to mind. You don't have to have any, but if you do have some, I know I didn't give you time to prepare for this, but I've spent a lot of time
I have
grueling and asking questions of you guys.
I have a very important question.
Yes,
For you.
ask away.
Who's your barber?
Oh, I believe it or not, I do this mess myself.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah. This is funny. I still have my hairline.
I see that.
It's here.
Yeah.
And whenever it grows out, it just grows in really thin. But my wife told me the other day I had a bald spot, and I was like, oh, I don't have a bald spot. I was like, I shave it on purpose. Now I'm coming to the realization it's falling out. I'm like, you know what? I wish it would just go then.
Yeah,
I
right.
wish it would all just go.
I
I'm
think
fine
we go
with
to the
that.
same place.
Yeah, right.
You're just getting a little long.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it happens to the best of us. But
I'm just holding on to the last.
as long as you can. That's right. You got to fight for us. Somebody's got to do it, Alex. Somebody's
right.
got to do it. Any other questions? Podcast related, shed related, anything?
I
It's,
have a question.
Full disclosure.
So I know you know shed places all over the country, right? I feel like you had touched on this briefly when we were talking before, like you started rolling. Like, what are some major differences that you see in dealers, like not in the Northeast or East Coast, where you were saying, you know, like on this side of the country, they buy their sheds, where other parts of the country are on commission, and we get inquiries all the time from, you know, wholesale like inquiries.
So it's probably salt and peppered in, and you have had a lot of people come out of the East Coast that have moved into other territories, and sometimes they take that model with them, or they saw that. But whether accurate or inaccurate, we've said for a long time, the one thing we noticed almost immediately is, so there's a ton more population in the Northeast. right? And there's a lot more money and there's a lot more people. And because there's more money and more people, there seems to be more opportunity. There's a lot of competition up here, but you have more competition, but you have more opportunity sometimes in sales.
Right.
One thing that's also very unique to the Northeast is it seems like rent to own shrinks the farther north you go.
Right.
And the farther south you go, the more rent to own becomes a big, where up here somebody might say, oh, it's 10% of all of our sales, or 20. Somebody in the south might say it's 50 or 60% of all sales. So it becomes very important. And then I think demographic wise, outside of that, so bigger sheds the farther west you go, and farther south a lot of times you go. Definitely people wanting to live in them, whether they're doing it legally or illegally.
Right.
And meeting all the standards. And then there's this whole talk about tiny homes and, international building codes. And like you can get into all kinds of different stuff.
We don't want to get involved in tiny homes.
It's a lot.
People ask all the time.
But to answer your question, a lot of guys in the Midwest seem to build more in quantity and get a lot of dealers and then sell a lot of sheds. So they'll be consignment based. They'll send 40 sheds out, 100 sheds out, whatever their makeup is, and that dealer get a percentage. Whereas it seems like on the East Coast there seems to be more like wholesale.
You're buying your inventory.
So you're buying your inventory. Right. And I don't want to pick on one or the other. We've always tried to stay fairly neutral, but what I've noticed is when you purchase your inventory, you seem to be more committed to get that inventory sold.
Yes, because you're putting your own money in.
There you go.
Right.
Whereas if you are a consignment dealer, it just depends on if there's any accountability there. And how can you really be accountable? It's like, have you ever tried to discipline a volunteer?
Can't.
It's pretty well impossible. But if there's something to gain or lose from it, then it's a little bit different. So I probably more of a personal fan of the way you guys do things, because I feel like you have committed dealers who they try to get better at sales. They try to they invest into themselves, as opposed to, hey, we own an auto body shop, but we also sell sheds. Those guys might be one of your absolutely best dealers. Don't get me wrong. You might have found a diamond in the rough, but generally speaking, we do that
mostly
on the side.
Rough.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's mostly rough.
Mostly rough. Yeah.
Less diamond, more rough.
Yeah.
We found that also very true through the years, because, at one time we tried to do a little bit of that when we first got started, and it just did not work. If our dealer does not have the invested interest, they're not going to care about the product. They're not going to care about the customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And your brand, think about the complexity of this. They're selling multiple brands, because next thing you know, they're Joe's Body Shop, and then they start another business, and that is ABC Sheds, or, sorry if there's an ABC Sheds out there. I'm not picking on you, but I'm just trying to use simplicity. They use ABC Sheds, and then ABC's selling Fox Country. So think about the branding dynamic there of somebody coming in and saying, whose sheds are these? Well, these are ABC's, but technically they're Fox Country.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of bait and switch going on out there too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They would use, photographs, or they would stock their sheds with a better quality shed, and they will sell somebody else's shed that they buy it cheaper.
Yeah.
And a lot of customers don't know that. So.
Yeah, so it's interesting. The dynamic of the whole shed industry is dynamic, but I'm always open for questions, and it's neat to see the industry where it is and how it's grown.
Yep.
And we love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah,
Same
we
here.
love it. Yeah, we love coming to work every day and dealing with the people. And every manufacturing can be difficult at times. One of the biggest issues, like we all have, plain sector ourselves, is finding quality employees. It's always not only in our industry, in all the industries.
And all. Yeah.
So our philosophy is stay small, service your customers, and you'll be good at the end. If we try to expand too much and not give the quality and we can't deliver on time, it's an issue. Yep. You're not going to have that dealer for too much longer, because they're going to get frustrated with you. So.
Yeah, it's hard to stay close to the plan of the original visionary. The bigger you get.
Yeah, the bigger you get, it's harder to stay to the original plan. Yep. That's
for
exactly
sure.
right. Yeah.
Well, you guys are great.
Oh,
I've
thank
enjoyed
you.
this thoroughly.
Thank you so
thank you.
much
You
for
are too.
coming.
I've appreciated this. My family says thank you for giving us a chance to sit down with you guys and chat. I always feel like I'm better for it whenever I sit with people, and I hope the industry's better for it. I hope wherever you are today, you're entertained, whether you're at your office, going down the road in a shed hauling truck, or building sheds today, whatever it is you're doing, wherever you're listening from. I hope you're blessed by it in the conversation. These are some of the most awesome and coolest people I've had a chance to meet yet.
Thank you very much.
And coming up on 4 years. So
You
that
guys
says
are
a
awesome
lot.
too.
But
Happy
thank you,
anniversary on the
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Who would have known it would make it? I say if we get 10 years out of it, I'm tickled. Who knew I'd get to who knew I'd get to talk for 10 years and enjoy it, but it's truly been
That's wonderful.
it's been great. It's been something I've really enjoyed. So
Wonderful.
thank you guys.
Thank you very
you so
much.
much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.